I've been looking at the 2025 schedule, thinking long and hard about it, and I'm willing to say the most important game on next year's schedule is the matchup with Texas.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to preview the Kentucky Texas A&M basketball game. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to be at that game. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to break that down. But first, I have ranked an honorable mention and then the 5 most important games of the season for the Aggies. And the number one most important game for me this year is Texas. So this episode's going to be, titled with the word Texas. And obviously there's already a lot of Texas fans that watch Locked On Aggies on a day-to-day basis, but you're going to have even more listening today. So hear me out, Texas fans, before we get angry, before we get yelling. I think that what happens, there has not been a decision yet with Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. If I was a betting man, I would feel almost probably 95% confident. I mean, I just think there's no way that Arch Manning does not start next year at Texas. And I think knowing that, if I'm Quinn Ewers, I'm going to go make some money somewhere. More than likely, I'd say in the portal, which if you're a Texas fan, I think that y'all want that. You know what I mean? You want him to leave so it can be Arch Manning time. Now, here's my bold take, and I do not, and I'm willing for this to happen, and there's a good chance I end up on, some crazy Twitter page for a crazy take on this one, but hear me out. Arch Manning still has stuff to prove. All of this hype is built around Arch Manning because his last name is Manning. He's going to be good. I'm 99% confident he's going to be pretty darn good. And Texas is going to be a great football team next year. But he's still got to prove it. He's still a young quarterback. And I think that his last name kind of makes everybody assume he's going to be elite. And it's going to boost Heisman odds and boost all these things. So I still I'm not a person that's going to, his last name's Manning, he's going to be great. Bronny James, his last name is James, and he is not good. I mean, it's not the same thing. Point is, I think that fans at times, we kind of look at things and we make assumptions because of last names and stuff like that. And Arch Manning, so before I get yelled at, once again, I'm not saying he's not going to be great. I think he's going to be great. I've watched the film. I saw his sample size last year. You've seen his ability to use his legs on top of his ability to pass the football. I think he's going to be great, but he's still got to prove it. So Texas is going to be a top 10 team, probably a top 5 team heading into next season, deservedly. And I think they're going to be great. But I mean, what I'm saying is there's a world where Arch Manning does not end up being elite and Texas is a 9-3 football team next year. I mean, that's a realistic possibility. That's my point. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But this is still the most important game on the schedule for the Aggies. I mean, at the end of the day, right now, Texas fans, I've probably already irked y'all here some. I'll probably say something that's going to make you happy. The Texas A&M fans, cover your ears. Right now, you can't look at the all-time history with Texas and not say in football, we're the little brother. Cannot say it. You cannot not say it. And I mean, that's why that game last year frustrated me so darn much, because you look at that game and you go, man, all this hype, this rivalry's back. We're getting one of the better college football rivalries back at home in Kyle Field in front of your home crowd. People are fired up, and you go and you lose and you just don't play well. I mean, that's the reality. I was frustrated really darn frustrated with that football game. So, kind of looking at this, I think that that's the most important game on the schedule. Can you go to Austin and win next year? I don't feel any kind of confident, but I mean, at some point, if you want to change the narrative of this football program, you're going to have to. And that's kind of my point. If you want to change the narrative of Texas A&M football for the future, you're going to have to go win some of these big games on the road and prove that you don't just have the talent, you can win as well. And we haven't done that in these last handful of years, despite having great players, and it's time for that to happen. And I mean, until it happens, I understand people laughing at this program. Seriously. I mean, I think that's the reality. So that game is a way you can go make a statement. You go win in Austin, you really prove, hey, right now we might be the little brother of the rivalry, but at the end of the day, we're coming and buckle up. So, I mean, if you want to be able to say that, you got to go win a football game like this in Austin, and that ain't going to be easy to do. The number 2 game I have is at Notre Dame. I mean, I think that, hey, Notre Dame in a couple days is getting ready to play for a national championship, and I think that they are pretty darn good. I don't think that there's any way that you can look at that team and not think they're going to be good next year. So, I mean, now the one thing that could change this list is if Coach Freeman moves on to the NFL. I've seen some rumors there. I forget what team it was. Maybe it was Dallas. I don't know. There's beside the point. If an NFL job opens up for him. Now, I think that Notre Dame's going to be good. If he's still around, Notre Dame's going to be a really good football team next year. I think that the upside is once again there for this team. I think Notre Dame, they have a chance to do it. Notre Dame, I've often called them a team similar to Texas A&M where, they're the best team in the world, and then, they're 8-4. They're 9-3. This is Notre Dame's opportunity to go and prove that they are not that. And I just think that they're going to be really good next year, and you have to go to Notre Dame. That is an important game and a tough one. I mean, walking into South Bend, you just can't feel good about that game, but it's an important one. I mean, at the end of the day, if Texas A&M wants to be successful next season, they have to find a way to win one of these games on the road. That's just the reality. So, my next game, my number 3 game is the matchup with LSU at LSU. And I think that this is a game where, I mean, it's never fun playing in Baton Rouge, playing in Death Valley. I mean, it's just not. It's just not a fun place to go play. And I know Texas A&M is, they've done some stuff down in Death Valley, but will they be able to go win this game with Nussmeier? I mean, LSU is beatable. They are a beatable football team, and I believe they're going to be a beatable football team next year. I don't know if Kelly's the answer there. I don't know. So I think they're a beatable football team, and I think they will be for the foreseeable future. Winning there is not fun, though. We don't know, obviously, a kickoff time of that football game yet, but I promise you, if it's at night, have fun, good luck, because that is not going to be any kind of fun. You got to go there on October 20. Does that say 26? Well, that's just blurry. Yep, I believe 26. Let's see. 25th, excuse me. Yeah, you got to go to LSU, and I mean that's just a game where I don't know how you feel good walking in to play in that football game. They've got a returning quarterback. They're going to have some good players back. On top of that environment, I mean, that's an important game. But at the end of the day, of my next 3 games that I'm going to talk about here in a minute, they're all at home. These 3 football games on the road, if you want to make a playoff, and interestingly enough, I'll go ahead and give you all a spoiler. Missouri's not in my list. I think Missouri's not going to be that good next year. I just don't. I think that they're going to kind of fade away, and some of the teams that we play at home are going to kind of flip-flop and be good, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But you have to find a way to win at worst-case scenario one of those 3 games between Texas, Notre Dame, and LSU. You go 0-3 in those games. I mean, once again, your best-case scenario is 9-3, and there's going to be a lot of tough other games. So you have to find a way to win one of those games if you want a chance to win 9-10 football games. So, got to win one of those three. They're the most important heading into next year. And obviously injuries and portal is going to change how we look at this. And we'll do this experiment again here probably in 2 months, 3 months. But right now, it's hard not to look at this team and think that those are the most important games of the season. We're going to talk about my number 4 game, which I think is going to be the most kind of underrated, challenging game of the season. I'll tell you why coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. I absolutely love the Game Time app. Those of you everydayers here at Locked On Aggies know that I sit here and brag on the Game Time app all the time. It is the only place that I ever will purchase tickets to anything. I've said this time and time again. I got tickets for a concert with my mom and I in Atlanta. I on Game Time got tickets to a basketball game for my dad and I. In Nashville. And once again, that is going to be, we got those on Game Time. I mean, every ticket I buy, Dad and I are going to see Shane Gillis on Saturday. I'm excited for that. Got our tickets on Game Time. It's the only place to buy tickets. It is a ton of fun to go on there and find the seats that best fit you, what you're looking for. I love the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. So, the game that I have listed number 4 on this list is the Aggies matchup with, drumroll, South Carolina. I think that South Carolina is going to be good. I think they're going to be good. I think that South Carolina is, I mean, they beat us this year. They were red hot down the stretch. They got their quarterback back. They paid him a ton of money. I think that South Carolina is going to have a good season next year. I think this could be it for Beamer. I think this could be the year that we've seen the preseason hype with them. We've seen the Beamer hype, and I have a feeling this could be the year that it really clicks for them. So, I'm a little concerned about this football game. I think that even at Kyle Field, I mean, that this game to me, if I had to predict it right now, it's later in the year, but it has a feeling of a game where they're going to come in and it's going to be a hyped up game. And I think they're going to show up and play well. I mean, South Carolina, they're going to have the pieces. I think that they've done a solid job so far bringing in new players for next year. They're going to continue to do so. I believe in Beamer as a coach, and I believe in Sellers as a quarterback. I believe that combination of those two things is very scary, and that is why South Carolina's number 4 game here for me. Number 5 is Auburn. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all my honorable mention and tell you why I have Auburn at 5 and not in my honorable mention. I have Florida's my honorable mention. Once again, Missouri, I think they're going to regress. I'm not in on Missouri, even on the road. I'm not all that terrified about that game right now. So the reason I have Auburn at 5 and not at the honorable mention where Florida is, I think that they have the offensive weapons to be elite. The issue at times was quarterback. Peyton Thorne had some games last year where you go, okay, he's fine, right? And then he had some games where you go, what in the heck is going on here? I believe that the going to get Jackson Arnold, I just have a feeling that Jackson Arnold is going to be one of those players that, you know, he was not great at Oklahoma. There was a lot of hype he didn't live up to. Now he's going to go to Auburn, and I think he's going to end up being a really good player for them. This game, I'll tell you this game to me has, so you play UTSA, you play Utah State. You should be 2-0. You then go play Notre Dame and South Bend. Probably predict us to lose that one. Right now you're 2-1. This Auburn game, to me, has that early season noon kickoff, 11 o'clock kickoff, where Auburn is maybe not ranked or ranked 20, 24, 25, 22, right? And we're either ranked or not, or kind of ranked around that same spot, and Auburn comes in at noon and just beats you. That's the kind of feeling I get about this game. I think that Cam Coleman, a name familiar to us here at Texas A&M, knowing he was committed to the Aggies for a while before he decides to go to Auburn. And I mean, he had a pretty darn good freshman season. Let me see how many yards he ended up having. Had to be over 500, right? Let's see. So, I mean, but they've got great weapons there. Yes, they lose Keandre Lambert-Smith and they lose Jarquez Hunter, but they've got some other great weapons around them. Yeah, he had about 600 yards and 8 touchdowns, 598 yards. So, pretty good freshman season for Cam Coleman, and I think better quarterback play just means better numbers for him. So this Auburn team, last year, they were really, really young. Last year, they had a lot of young talent on the defense and a lot of young talent on the offense. That talent that played a lot of snaps last year are all going to be sophomores. You got a quarterback that can come in and help. You got a 5-star freshman quarterback that maybe you never know. Maybe he beats out Arnold and he's great. So I think Auburn is going to be sneaky good this year. And this is a game that I am concerned about. So once again, like if you want to kind of see where I'm coming from, I'm more concerned about this Auburn game and this Florida game than I am playing at Missouri right now. So Florida, DJ Lagway to me is awesome. I think the question is going to be what's around DJ Lagway when it comes to the rest of the team. I think DJ Lagway is going to be a Heisman Trophy winner. Not this year, probably next year. So not, in his junior season, I think he wins a Heisman Trophy. I think he is that good. I think he is a future NFL Hall of Famer. I think that I hope I don't sound like Colin Cowherd talking about Ben Simmons, but you get where I'm coming from. I think that DJ Lagway is that elite player. It's going to be just a dominant force in college football. Once again, Florida does have to make the trip to play us at Kyle Field, so that helps you a little bit. But and it's early in the year. I'd be scared if we played Florida the last couple of weeks when Lagway's really hitting his stride. But this Florida team played good football down the stretch. I'm really scared about that game. I think there's a world where both Auburn, South Carolina, and Florida are top 20 teams when they come to town. That's just a reality. Like, that could happen. So I think that teams that you kind of looked at, this year as kind of easy winnable games could all come into your place next year as top 20 teams, which is part of the reason why Texas A&M has such a tough schedule next year, despite not playing the Georgia and Alabama and Ole Misses of the world. We are going to how about this? Leave me in the YouTube comments, where do y'all rank these games? What are the 5 most important games of the season next year? I feel like we'll all agree on Texas. So after that, kind of rank the most important ones after that. Let me know that in the YouTube comments. I'm really curious to hear y'all's thoughts. Texas A&M has a massive basketball game coming up against Kentucky, and they're going to be doing it once again without Wade Taylor. We're going to talk about that game coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Wayfair. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps me get back into a routine. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, Wayfair has everything you need, all within your budget. I'm currently looking for furniture, and their huge selection makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and budget. My favorite part, the free and hassle-free delivery. Even for larger items, Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. So the Aggies are getting ready to take on the Kentucky Wildcats in a basketball game that I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be at this game later this evening, heading to Rupp Arena here in a few hours. Looking forward to that. Right now, Kentucky's a 6.5-point favorite which makes a lot of sense knowing that Wade Taylor is going to be out for a third straight game. The Aggies are coming off a painful, close loss at home against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now you got to go play in Lexington. It's going to be a tough one. And you're going to need a good game from Zurich Phelps. I mean, at the end of the day, Phelps is a guy, I found it crazy how much he shot the ball without Wade Taylor in the lineup. I mean, he shot the basketball 29 times against Alabama and 25 times against Oklahoma. In the win over Oklahoma, he put up 34 points and, really, I mean, in all honesty, won that game for you. Against Alabama, I mean, he shoots 31% from the field on darn near 30 shots. That's not going to get it done. Plus adding 5 of 10 at the free throw line, 1 of 6 from 3. I mean, he just didn't have his best game. Kentucky has a great on-ball defender in Lamont Butler, and seeing how he defends Phelps is going to be interesting in this game. I don't feel great about our chances if Butler shuts down Phelps. I mean, where are you going to get your scoring from without Wade Taylor? And if Phelps has another rough game, I mean, that's just the reality. Now, Kentucky is absolutely atrocious at rebounding the ball on the defensive end. We've seen teams, Georgia, Florida, even Mississippi State. I mean, all of these teams have done a great job against the Wildcats on the offensive glass, getting second chance points. Knowing that, plus Texas A&M is the best team in all of college basketball when it comes to getting second chance opportunities, getting offensive rebounds. That is how you have a chance to win this game. Your two chances to win are Phelps having a good game shooting the ball, not shooting 30% on 30 attempts. I also think it'd be great if you could get another player to kind of get going. Manny, if Manny has a good game here, I think that's going to help you a lot as well. Like at the end of the day, he's a starter that last year when he kind of got hot, it helped us out. And I think if he could get hot again, that's a great chance. So you need somebody else to give you some scoring on top of Phelps. But winning the offensive glass is going to be a way that you can hang around and have a legitimate chance to win this basketball game. So if you do those three things, Phelps has a good game, someone else scores the ball, and you win, you get a lot of second chance points and dominate the offensive glass, you can win this game. If Lamont Butler shuts down Phelps and the Wildcats do a good job of rebounding the ball on the defensive end, I think you're going to lose. Texas A&M also allows a lot of three-point shots. Kentucky is one of the best three-point shooting teams in college basketball. Plus, they like to shoot the ball a lot. So you got to do a good job. Let the right guys shoot, which, heck, on this team, there's really not that many people for Kentucky. You got to get a hand in the face. You got to make sure that you aren't letting them get hot from deep, because if they get hot from deep, I mean, at the end of the day, Kentucky wins this game and they cover. So that is how Texas A&M can win this basketball game. They have to do those things. If they don't, they're not going to win. That is just the reality. That is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Aggies. Thank you all so much for being here every single day. Hope everybody enjoyed the show yesterday with Mike O'Reilly. Great person to talk to. I think he's just a great dude, great high upside player for us next year. Hope you all enjoyed that show. We'll try and get some more stuff like that going. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you haven't. Leave a 5-star review on podcast platforms. All that helps the show a ton. Really appreciate it. Hope everyone enjoys the basketball game tonight. That's going to do it for today. We'll see y'all tomorrow right here on Locked On Aggies.